culture does not benefit women. Can we all stop pretending like it does? Let me say it one more time for the people in the back. Hookup culture does not benefit women. It doesn't. And I say this as a woman who has never participated in it. I am so sick of the lie being spread all over social media and in modern day society that women allowing men to use their bodies in a casual manner is empowering. It's not. Women have a lot more to lose by having sex, whether we like that reality or not. We bear most of the negative consequences of having sex. We put ourselves in a dangerous and vulnerable position when we choose to have sex. And this is not a symptom of the patriarchy either, because I'm pretty sure the patriarchy is not responsible for women having a uterus, a cervix, the ability to get pregnant and then ultimately die in labor. And I'm also pretty sure the patriarchy didn't make it so that human males are both bigger and stronger than human females and technically possess the ability to overpower you should they wish. That's just biology. And biology doesn't give a fuck about fairness. Women have the parts that we have, and we have the physical limitations that we have. And there is nothing we can do about that reality, except for live in it and behave accordingly. There are real biological reasons why women have to be more cautious with sexual activity than men. And I am tired of women pretending like women risk nothing when we choose to allow men to use women's bodies in a casual manner. When women have sex, we risk rape, damage to our sexual organs, increased risk of STD, pregnancy, and ultimately death. Because until modern times, pregnancy and labor were quite deadly to women, and no amount of contraception and wokeness in the 21st century can override our human need to protect ourselves, developed over tens of thousands of years. And let's be clear, this is not a moral issue. I feel like every time this topic is brought up, women always try to deflect to purity culture, religion, or tradition. But I'm not religious, nor am I conservative, nor do I believe that women should have to wait until they're married. I'm just using basic common sense and basic logic here. It is not in your best interest as a woman to participate in hookup culture. Hookup culture not only leaves millions of women feeling empty and used, it also encourages women to put themselves in potentially dangerous situations with strange men, all in the pursuit of being a cool girl and competing with men. Which is why I've always believed that a lot of women don't actually care about the health or safety of other women. So many women these days seem to encourage other women to engage in certain behaviors for the singular reason that historically men were allowed to do it. I can give a fuck what a man does. And I am so sick of everything in my life as a woman being approved of or disapproved of based on whether or not a man does it. I am not a man. I am a woman. I do what works for me as a woman, and so should you. A few months ago, I read a post online written by a woman that is currently participating in hookup culture. Now this woman, she met a man at a bar. So she talked to him for a few hours, and so she decided to bring him home in order to hook up. So they were getting into it, and she handed him a condom. And so she noticed that he only pretended to put it on. So she stopped and she asked him to put it on. Now, in her words, this strange man looked at her and said, "What are you going to do if I don't?" Now, in this moment, this woman realized that she was in an extremely dangerous situation. So in order to avoid this situation escalating, because she has no idea how dangerous this man is, because she'd only met him a few hours ago, this woman decides to continue the encounter and allow this man to have unprotected sex with her. And the next day, she went out and got a plan B and said that she scheduled an appointment with her doctor to get an STD panel done. Now, the women who responded to this thread were comforting the original poster, and they were advising her on what to do next and how to get tested and where to get tested. And they were telling her that there was nothing that she could have done differently to avoid this happening. Huh? Nothing she could have done differently. Now, when I read these comments, my blood started to boil. So I commented, "You really need to stop bringing strange men home. Do you have any idea how outrageously dangerous that is? That man could have done anything to you. And now you have risked getting pregnant or contracting a deadly disease. And for what? Isn't that crazy?" Now, shortly after making that comment, the thread was locked and my comment was deleted. So later on, I went into DMs and I messaged the moderator and I asked the moderator, why was my comment deleted? And the moderator told me that my comment was misogynistic. And so I asked her, how was that possible? And the moderator told me that a woman should be able to have sex with whoever she wants without consequences, and suggesting that a woman needs to be careful when participating in casual sex is inherently sexist. I was told that by another woman. Women encouraging women to put themselves at risk just to participate in a culture potentially dangerous to them to break down the patriarchy. All in some misguided attempt to compete with men in making the playing field fair. I'm pretty sure rapists don't play according to the rules. So we as women have to protect ourselves whether we like that reality or not. And women telling other women that they can just do whatever they want without risk of danger is a fucking lie. And I'm not going to martyr myself in the pursuit of winning the Cool Girl of the Year award. But so many women don't ever want to talk about the dangers that women face when participating in casual sex. Casual sex is also emotionally traumatic for a lot of women and leaves them feeling empty and used. But nobody ever wants to talk about that either. Recently, I stumbled across a video online where a woman said something very interesting. She said that she had to learn to handle casual sex, that it used to make her feel bad, but after forcing herself to do it again and again and again, she can now handle casual sex easily. And this woman said that as if that was something to be proud of, something to be aspired to, as if it was an accomplishment, like she had rooted out some sort of human weakness. Now, I'm pretty sure needing to develop a tolerance to anything is not a good thing. Smokers do not brag about developing a tolerance to nicotine. Feeling empty after letting a man enter your physical body is not abnormal. It does not make you weak to not be able to handle something like that. I don't get why so many women see that reality as some kind of female weakness. That women are weak because we aren't cool with men penetrating us and ejaculating in us when that man has zero feelings for us. That just because men do it, we also have to do it. That just because men can handle it, we also have to be able to handle it. I don't give a fuck what a man does. And I am tired of everything that a woman should do being based on what a man is doing. I don't care. Why do you? Now, it's one thing for men to think like this, because it is in men's best interest to convince all women to give men an all-access pass to women's bodies. But what I don't understand is all the women who participate in convincing other women to do it. What do you get out of it? Now, I'm not saying that there aren't women who can have casual sex and have no bad feelings afterward. I'm sure those women do exist, but they are not the majority. So why do promiscuous women seem to make the most noise? It's always seemed like an attempt at leveling the playing field, if you ask me. One thing I've noticed as a woman who has never participated in hookup culture is that any time I have ever mentioned how I dislike casual sex in the presence of women who have participated in it, it is always met with some form of defensiveness. By me merely choosing a different path is viewed as some kind of moral judgment against them. And I've always personally found that very funny. You say that you are confident in the choices that you have made, and yet you perceive anyone who chose differently as being inherently judgmental of you. That doesn't sound like confidence to me, which is why I've always thought that promiscuous women promote hookup culture as a good thing so that they aren't the only ones doing it. Because the reality is, once you partake, you can never go backward. You cannot unfuck dozens of people. And you have to deal with other people's disapproval of your behavior. Because while you are allowed to do whatever you want, and you should be allowed to do whatever you want, other people are allowed to have their own opinion about it. And you can do nothing about that except for live with that reality. I have always thought that if casual sex was presented to most women as an option that they could either take or leave, with zero influence, with zero encouragement, and with zero pressure, that most women would simply choose to opt out. But unfortunately, we live in a world that allows the worst people to have platforms to go online and talk about how proud they are of their decisions, and how much they've grown from behaviors that they clearly regret. If you are a woman and you want to sleep around, go ahead. I don't care. But what I dislike is all the women who pretend to be cool with hookup culture in public and then sad and depressed about it in private, but then too proud to admit that they made a mistake. And due to this pride and their refusal to admit that they made a mistake, other women line up to engage in the same behavior and get hurt in the same way. Tell me again how women care about other women. Girl power.